Knowing how to draft an abstract is very important to the acceptability and the coverage of your published article. Sometimes your manuscripts in terms of relevance will be determined by how you develop your abstract. It is not difficult to know how to write an abstract, but you have to learn how to pay attention to details that are very, very necessary and important. Abstracts could be in two categories. We have the generic abstract and the structured abstract. So the generic abstract is more personal. It's usually how you want it. The abstract is drafted and developed based on your personal conviction. No restrictions, no specifications. It doesn't follow a specific order. It's randomized. And most of the words used, because it's more personal to you, are informal. The tenses are structured informally. So when you look at some reviews, some commentaries and bulletins, you realize some of them have generic formats or generic abstracts, except from books, from magazines, are generic. So sometimes it could be poetic. It could be prose-like, as the case may be. But the interesting thing is it's more personal, and it gives you freedom to express yourself because you are not following any specific order. The advice I want to give to you is to be careful of how you project your study with your abstract. For example, when you are applying for a conference or a workshop, they ask you to submit an abstract. That is the only information that they will base their judgment on. So it will determine if your abstract will be accepted or your work will be rejected for presentation. Sometimes people say, I submitted an abstract for that conference, but I wasn't called to attend it. The question is, have you presented your work in such a way that it will attract the attention of the organizers? They don't know you. They only see your abstract. And the second caution is, most conferences publish your abstracts. If not online, they have what you call book of abstracts. And when people come for the conference, people go through the list of the abstracts. So think carefully about what you want to include in your abstract. I'm not going to visit a poster stand of an abstract that I don't find interesting or that it doesn't speak to my curiosity. Be careful of how you present the information in your abstract. Let's look at structured abstract. It is a form of customized abstract. It's like an executive summary that is giving us an overview of the study you have conducted, an idea of its strength, its possible novelty, and the conclusion that might change people's lives or have strong impact on their lives. So this kind of abstract is structured. So for the sake of my talk, I'll focus more on customized abstracts, because that is what you will need for conferences or if you have to apply for workshops. That's what you will need for grants and fellowship applications. And the same is what you will need when you draft your manuscript, a review manuscript, for example. There are a few specifications that you have to put into consideration because this is more customized. They tell you that it shouldn't be longer or it shouldn't be more than 250 to 350 words. It should not be more than 350 words. You can't write 500 unless otherwise stated. Sometimes they ask you to write 150 words. So you have to think carefully of what should go into your abstract. So when you look at a typical customized abstract, the longest part of that abstract is your data, followed by the methods you use. You don't need too much information in your background. The background should just promote the study and justify the rationale. You need information on the methods you used. However, the essence of the data, the essence of the abstract is the data you generated and you are presenting. So this is the usual format of a customized abstract. You have a background which talks about your study, giving us an idea of why it's important and relevant, and why you have decided to take it up as a means of study. The aims also goes into your background, why the study is being conducted. Then you have a section for methods. Here you should focus on major methods and not minor methods. Minor methods would include, we sterilize the water we used. That is minor. We expect that you should use sterile water. You don't say, then I seeded the plate. You need to seed the plate. You don't say, I cultured the bacteria. The bacteria should be cultured. You need to understand that these are minor methods that supports and provide a good template to conduct your experiment. Then your results and findings. You have to focus on the most important results that people would understand, and we help them to appreciate the relevance of your study. Conclusions and sometimes significance. There are some that they have significance. There they expect you to point out why the study is important and what contribution will it make to public health. And sometimes it could be conclusion. So now you are trying to summarize your findings in terms of application. You are not repeating the data you have presented in your results. But more importantly, you are focusing on how it will affect or help people. The method you present or you are trying to present in your abstract must be reproducible. It doesn't have to be too detailed, but it must be detailed enough for people to understand it. So customized abstract is data-driven and result-specific. You don't use references or citations in your abstracts, especially the customized one. Sometimes if you look at the executive summary, it's possible for you to add some citations. But it's not all the time that you have that form of citation. There might be a call for it. Remember, there are no references or citation in your abstract. You use formal tenses, no abbreviations, except the standard abbreviation like WHO, like COVID, that people are used to. Even sometimes, it is better you define your abbreviation first before you use it consecutively or subsequently. No abbreviation. People want to understand your abstract at a go. Abbreviation can limit their levels of understanding. Like I mentioned, when I was discussing how you go about your title, it has to be clear. Your abstract has to be clear. It has to be simple, and you need a sense of creativity. It has to be detailed enough for people to understand it. And since you have conducted the experiment, it has to be active. You can't make passive statements. The moment your abstract sounds passive, it looks like you have not conducted the experiment or you don't know what you are talking about. Your background should be concise and tailored towards the study. Your result should be specific meaningfully and ensure that your methods are descriptive. Sometimes in your abstracts, and most of the times, you have to indicate values in terms of percentages, ranges. Maybe you have used different ranges of temperature or different range of a particular concentration. The cutoff standard. What is the standard that makes it susceptible or resistant? What is the standard that makes it positive or negative? Numbers. Then the samples you used, the sources of these samples, the locations. All this information are very important for your results and for the method section. You might need to highlight, not you might need to, it's important for you to highlight major techniques, the methods you used. And don't forget to include cases and controls. Usually people, they leave out the control that they have used for their experiments. And you should understand that we have different controls. We have sample control. You have experimental control. And you also have some technical controls, which could be negative or positive. You might also need to highlight major tools you used and focus on specific major analysis. So you don't need too much information here.